Hey everybody, I put together an extended cut of what I did for the bonus feature for episode 8 and the episode proper. The way the episode worked out, it just didn't really break down into a separate episode very well. It would have been like 12 or 15 minutes. So I figured I'd just stick it together with the special feature and call that an episode instead. So here we go. Hello everybody, welcome to Building, episode 8 of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program Building. Resume saved. Our highly successful orbital adventure around the moon has garnered us 160.4 science, 433,000 funds, and however much reputation this is. Looks like we're getting up to close to about 25%, so that'd be, I guess, about 250 reputation. So, into the science art labs we go, the research and development we go, to spend our hard-earned science on some stuff. We don't have enough to buy 2 different of these nodes, so I know that I'm going to go ahead and get general construction now and all the parts associated. That gives us these strut connectors, which will make things a little bit more stable with rockets, and also launch stability enhancers, which means our rockets no longer need to rest on their engine bells when they're taking off. So I'm looking for the most useful, more science, press map barometer, can always be useful. Ooh, lander can. We're really close to being able to land. Really close. And by really close, I mean really close. Aerodynamics. Oh, if I could get a faster jet engine. That's what I really need. A faster jet engine. It's way up there. I might be able to do an atmospheric flight with... I know what to do. Okay, here we go. Because there's new aerodynamics, I always like to take advantage of new aerodynamics whenever I can. I'm going to go ahead and grab this node and all of the parts for 78,000 funds. Holy kazoolie. Contracts. We still need to get this visual survey, but I know how I can do it. I know how I can do it now. Visual surveys of the moon, once again, that's always lucrative. Planet station, polar orbit, a couple of satellite placement contracts, 4 tourists, test the Spider liquid fuel engine while orbiting the moon. Oh wow, look at this visual survey. Holy smokes. I think we're just going to wrap up this mission. We're going to build a new space plane. Goodbye. Last time, we've been flying around this little puddle jumper, which is pretty fun and all, but it is time to wipe out the puddle jumper and make something completely new and more awesome. And since we have these thuds now, we could do something pretty slick, I think. Fuel tanks. We're going to put on a little bit of rocket fuel, but mostly liquid fuel. So you have 150 liquid fuel. I think we can get away with even something a little bit more efficient. Now, I want some length in this thing. So center of mass, center of lift. I always want to keep track of those. And building space planes in 1.0, or in this case 1.0.2, is really comes down to making sure your center of lift is a little bit behind your center of mass for the primary wing. And then the control surfaces... Oh, I have this... Oh, new cockpit. Alright, we're making a completely new plane with completely new parameters here. Look at this. Aerodynamics. This guy. Bam. Oh, this is just a fuselage. An air intake fuselage. Oh, interesting. Don't really need it. That's okay. Fuel tanks. Liquid fuel, rocket fuel. Center of mass and center of lift. So, as I was saying, it's really important to keep your center of lift just, pretty much just behind the center of mass. And you want to make sure that, you know, your ship is... So this thing's going to totally lawn dart when it's out of fuel. Got to be a little bit cognizant of that. I don't think I need that much liquid fuel. I really don't. Tail connector B. So the cool thing about that tail connector is it really shifts the center of mass back a lot. Which means that the center of mass is not going to move as much when my tanks get rid of all their juice. I think that's the way to go. And we don't need... we could use some tail fins. Or... it's a small nose cone. This thing is so long. I wish I had the same kind of thing, but shorter. We do. It's called one of those. Alright, now I need control. This thing's still small, so... So again, we're just making sure our center of lift for the primary wing is pretty close to the center of mass. And then these just become control surfaces. Like so. Alright, since our center of mass is right there, we now have... No, I didn't grab them. Oh, dang it. If I was thinking ahead and doing space plane stuff, I would have grabbed the other, those other landing gear. Oh well. So I want this to be, you know, pretty close to the center of mass slash center of lift, so I can rotate around them easily. Bring them up like that, and then we have our little nose guy. This is not the puddle jumper. This is the lake skimmer. But with these things, it does make it a lot easier for us to get some of those passenger contracts. Let's just launch this and go see if we can't get that mission done. Rather than it being a full episode, you know, bonus content. Alright. Kaboing. It looks like, whoops, these legs are a little bit too close to the front. So we'll place them a little further back. I said we'll place them a little further back. Rotate them so that they're like that. And we do need, it turns out, to do some tweaks here. This is only for pitch. This is only for yaw. Go ahead and increase this braking torque on that one. And decrease that one so we're less likely to, you know, well, it should be fine. Should be fine, actually. And we do need a control surface, though, out here on these wings. That's the only Elevon we have? Really? Okay, well, fine. And this is roll. Okay, now, oh yeah, I completely forgot the whole point of this. Okay, I need to get rid of these because I need center of mass and center of lift. So the whole point of me setting my rocket up this way was to be able to stick on a pair of thuds. Right back here. Like this. You know, it occurs to me, I should probably put a stick on a jet engine. Be really, really hard without a jet engine. Which means the thuds need to go here. Alright, this craft is inherently unstable. The only way to fix that is to move some mass forward. That's more like it, but what happens when we're out? Yeah, see, that's a problem. We can get away with this. Now the only problem is since our, well, this could actually be pitch and yaw. And I need winglets. And this is yaw. Pitch and roll. What a crazy looking ship. Lake skimmer. Stage that, and as is a good idea here, utility. Let's put some stuff on. Emergency recovery system. Science, might as well, right? Stick a temperature gauge there. An antenna here. And our guy is ready to fly. Lake skimmer, go. Gotta move those landing gear back a little bit. Gotta move these landing gear back a little bit again. Yeah. What are you guys attached to? Weirdness. Got my stages backwards. Other way around. T. Jet engine up. Here we go. Zooming down the runway. Not a care in the world. Pitching up. And we are airborne. Yep, this thing lawn darts exactly as I'd expect. We don't need torque on. Thank you. We'll just fly this aerodynamically. And zoom it over. Space planes are too much fun. I really like how this game, it has a flight simulator built in. It's a simplistic flight simulator. But it's a flight simulator. I mean, it's one where you get to build your own stuff on the fly and all that good stuff. So we are now headed towards our destination. Alright, we're at a point now where we really need to start this climb. So here's what we're going to do. Rocket motors engaged. Oh man, we went through that fuel so fast. But that tells me a lot of information. Revert to the spaceplane hangar. So, what we need to do is completely tear this thing apart and rebuild it. Gone with you. You were there. Fuel tanks. Just flipping these around. I want the tank that has the most impact on my center of mass to be around the center of mass. We really do not need this much liquid fuel. But the length is useful. However, what I think I'm going to do is put on one of these guys, get rid of the oxidizer, and just get rid of half that liquid fuel. So now, you can see as my liquid fuel burns up, the center of mass isn't affected all that much. Okay, now, wings. Stick them right there. Yep. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. Oh my gosh. Okay. Those guys there. One of these guys here. And last but not least, the landing gear. Not last but not least. Oh my gosh, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the point of this mission. First of all, jeez. Kind of hard for my rocket to go anywhere without a jet engine on it. Which is totally going to change everything there. Alright, you guys. Go there. And once again, we are down to these elevons being pitch and roll. And the yaw will be controlled by these. And now the gear. Gear, gear, gear. Rotate those like that. One emergency recovery system. One antenna. Okay. Let's try that. As soon as I get my staging done right. Engines, and then emergency recovery parachute if needed. Rolling out, taking off. And we'll just hit it for a nice 15-degree climb here. So test number 2, we'll go ahead and let this thing just naturally climb up to its maximum altitude. I want to get into a 15-degree climb though, I think. If I really want to get serious, I need to not rely on these landing gear that are that aren't retractable. I mean, the problem is they're inducing enough drag you know, they're contributing to the drag. I don't know exactly where it's showing it, but I'm pretty sure they're contributing to the drag, keeping my speed down. So anyway, we're just going to fly this thing up to its service altitude, which I think is about 10 kilometers. It's just a little more pitch down for a little bit more speed. So considering that this is a simplified flight model compared to realistic simulations, there's still some really accurately represented flight characteristics, such as the pitch of your aircraft has a lot to do with how fast it's going to go, and I mean, throttle obviously makes a big difference in that, but there's a point at which the pitch has more authority over how fast you're going than your throttle does. And we are right now maintaining as high an altitude pretty much as we're going to be able to get with this thing. Oh, we're getting a little bit of speed. That's good. 231 meters per second. So this particular plane is not a supersonic plane. But it doesn't need to be. Oh, let's go ahead and activate our navigation here. I'm going to go ahead and turn onto target. Basically what I think I want to do is kind of get underneath it and then bank right up and thrust vertically, or nearly as vertically as I can with this engine. But I need to start from as fast as I can be going, as high as I can be going with this jet engine as possible. So I've been playing in sandbox mode, and given the right configuration of these parts, it doesn't take a whole lot more than this to make a single seat, single stage to orbit. It does take a better jet engine. I did it with the Rapier, and these nacelles might not cut it, but it isn't all that much more difficult than this to get single stage to orbit. See, am I at about 45 degrees off of that thing now? Well, quick save here to see if this is where we want to go with this. Okay, we're entering the area. I think it is time to pitch up and kick on rocket mode. Here we go. Face up, 60 degrees. Do it. Full throttle. Burn this fuel up and get us as much vertical velocity as we possibly can. We're reaching for the stratosphere. And that is it. We are totally going to make it. What's our contract? A crew report from above 8,200 meters. Keep this data. Congratulations. Mission accomplished. 55,000 funds. Not that we needed it very much. And we are now on our way back. Okay. Yeah, this thing can get actually some serious height in rocket mode now. So now we just got to fly ourselves back to the Kerbal Space Center. Got to be careful not to cause too much of a stall. And this plane really is pretty darn stable. We can knock off the gimbal. We can get rid of the torque. Get rid of that gimbal. And just fly everything with control surfaces. Alright, jet engines are back on. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up out of this dive. And fly back over to the Kerbal Space Center. And now that we've gotten rid of all that extra weight, we actually have a better top speed. So our jet engine is going to be more performant than before. We'll just fly back over to the KSC. More than half our liquid fuel left. And there's the Kerbal Space Center and the runways. We'll go ahead and throttle back and get ourselves ready to come in for a landing on this guy. I'm just waiting for us to get correctly aligned on the runway here. Let's see the view from the cockpit. As I use the keyboard to control this thing. Let's get ourselves set up for a kind of a landing attitude here. Nose a little bit up. And we'll just use the throttle to control our rate of descent. As one would do in a real plane. Set yourself up a glide path and use the throttle to do your nose up and down controls your pitch and your speed. And your throttle controls your glide distance. So you can see, for example, here that we're not falling. I want to get myself down to where we're actually gliding in. The view from the cockpit, we can no longer see the runway. I guess if I did this, though. And our glide slope. This thing glides probably really far. We're coming in awfully fast. This ought to be okay. There we go. Whoop. Whoop. Bingo! Brakes. Not the most perfectest landing ever, but, you know. Considering I wasn't flying with a joystick. And the really cool thing about these planes is the recovery cost. Recovery gets us everything back. We didn't get any science, but look at we get 10,000 funds back because that's the cost of this flight, and no XP gain. That was to be expected. So that's kind of this the end of this sort of pseudo episode 8ish bonus feature episode 8 kind of thing that I have going on. We'll figure out how exactly I cut it together when I put it in through the in the cutting room. But we did get that contract completed finally. Now we're just down to plant a flag on the moon. I really think the next mission, honestly, is going to be funded completely by the space program. It's not going to. We're not going to spend any money from. We're not going to get any money from contracts on this one. I think the next mission really ought to be to Minmus. Since we were able to get to the moon with as much fuel to spare as we had, we should have no problem being able to orbit around Minmus in a similar fashion. So, yeah, I think the next flight's going to be out to Minmus for at the very least a flyby, if not an orbital insertion and a bunch of science gathering over there. So yeah, that's going to be it for episode, either the bonus episode or episode 8. I'm not sure. We'll figure it out in the cutting room. Until next time, thanks for watching. Goodbye!